Well, I was going to give my aha moment, but
Yay,
it's
I
funny.
love aha moments. Let's kick it off, girl.
Well, and it's funny. I didn't even see that behind you, addiction to approval. And listen, y'all, thank wherever Brittany is right now. I have felt just like her since I've joined the call. Like I didn't know what my story was. And I know that sounds strange to say, but it was the truth. Until yesterday, when Brittany shared her story about her mother. And let me tell you just a quick background. A couple of weeks ago, Rhonda had mentioned that, I had this addiction to approval, sounded like, and I'm like, gosh, that just does not sound like me. And it really doesn't. But
That's how addictions work.
but when Brittany mentioned her mother and y'all were talking, I'm going, holy moly. I mean, like, I'm on anti-anxiety medicine that keeps me from crying, and I was bawling. I do not feel that I was ever loved by my mom. And I don't mean that in an abusive, cruel way, but I never felt her love. And I related it to the addiction to approval. Now, my mom says she supports me, whatever. I mean, I have a relationship with my mother, but we've just never been close. And yesterday I figured out why. Because even as a child, um, my parents were on and off again. They were married, but every time my dad wanted to leave, I wanted to go with him. And of course, I couldn't. I had to stay with my mom. And my mom refers to me as, she'll say a lot of times, you're just like your dad. But I'm sure as a child, wanting to go with the other parent when you're arguing, splitting up, whatever, that it is hurtful to see that child want to be and stay with the other parent. But when I was sick, anytime I had a fever, I can remember laying on the couch or laying in bed, and my dad was the one rubbing my feet when I had a fever. I do not remember a time as a child. And at that time when he would rub my feet, I was, for based on where we lived, I'm thinking I was 5 or 6, probably more 5, maybe even 4. I don't know. But I never, I don't know if I blocked it out or what, but I do not recall a time when my mother loved on me ever, ever in life. She's never said anything bad. She's always said, good job. I had viral meningitis 12, 13 years ago. And my mother never called to check on me. Yet my dad was the one that came and stayed with me while I was sick. She never offered, nothing. And there's no reason why she couldn't have. And when I got to thinking about my whole entire life and my relationship with my mother, I honestly am not sure I can say I even love my mother. And I know that y'all are going to think this is all terrible because, it's your mom, blah, blah, blah. She gave you life. No, my mom did not give me life. My mom birthed me. A lot of people feel this way about their baby daddies and all this stuff. He's a sperm donor. But listen, it can happen with a mother just as well because I feel it. I feel that. And if Brittany had not shared, I don't even know if she's on here or not. I can't look down. If Brittany had not shared that, I would have stayed stuck in this limbo of, oh my gosh, I still feel like I don't know my story. So instead of speaking yesterday, y'all were telling her to journal. So I started writing down my thoughts. And then my mind started flowing so fast, I had to stop and start dictating it. But, and as you get to thinking about things, more things pop into your head, different events, different happenings, and when someone says in here, I don't know my story, sometimes they really don't. Like when I came to the realization yesterday of this, I was actually blown away myself because I had never, ever, ever dreamed that this was part of my story. You know, I did not realize the impact of my mother's relationship with me had that much of an impact on my life. And if you don't know your story, stay in here, stick around. Something will be said at some point that will trigger for you what your story is. But it was a huge, humongous aha moment. So I just wanted to share with y'all.
Michelle, thank you. The experience that you awakened to was a long time coming. Here's the more important thing. You just said something. It was a long time searching. And at some point we give up. But it's people like you, it's souls like you who may not be in the throes of a search, but there's a part of you that's in a constant awakening to say, I'm going to look for it. I've been through life so long, I don't know if I'll find it, but I've come to deal with it. But if it shows up, I'm going to listen. So part of telling a story is also there's got to be somebody to listen. And yesterday it was all for you.
Yeah, it honestly was. I hope Brittany's on here because it was for me. I mean, it could not have smacked me in the face any clearer. I mean, it wasn't like getting a snake bite, you get in front of a snake and it bites you. No, this one, I mean, I couldn't even finish listening to Brittany's story because I don't know what she said. Well, I guess you guys were telling her that anyway, at one point I just couldn't even focus to listen to her anymore because it was just like my mind legit opened up and just blew up like a volcano.
Thank you.
Yeah, Monique, I can see the comments now. I'm looking down, but she's going to have to go back and watch this. She's going to have to know that she not only helped herself, she helped someone who's 52 years old, who has never realized. I mean, I knew my mom and I never had a close relationship, but I just thought it was that. I never realized how in depth it was. So she's going to have to go back and watch this. Yeah.
So Michelle, with this awakening, 50 plus years later, awareness, right? Because you were aware of it before you knew what awareness was. It was something that you did as a protection mechanism, as a device, as something that helped to create you. Now what for you?
It was a relief. Because I knew I've never been close to my mom and didn't have like feelings per se like I do towards other people with my mother. And I mean, I just feel okay about it. I mean, does it still hurt? Yeah, it does. It hurt. The part that hurt was, oh my gosh, my mom never loved on me. And I say loved on me. Because I don't remember any physical touching, any comforting, anything like that. Does my mom love me? I don't know that my mom knows how to love anyone, but that's not for me to say, but as a child of hers, a baby, it hurts. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm aware of how I but understand it now. And I'm okay with it. I'm going to say something. Y'all are probably going to just totally flip out. But I have said for years, gosh, probably 20 plus years, if my mom were to pass away, I wouldn't feel any different than I do now. I mean, would I miss her? Yeah. I mean, I'd miss talking to her, but that's how deep the lack of connection I feel with my mother. And I know that sounds cruel to someone who carried me in their body for 9 months, blah, blah, blah. That's how I feel about it. She birthed me, but she didn't give me life. And even to this day, would I feel any different right now if I got to call my mom had passed? I honestly don't think so. I mean, we're just not close. I'm sorry. I mean, I can't
So
help it.
so here's the good news. That part of you that was in a constant pull, that was in a constant, I don't want to say distraction, and a constant set of awareness. Kind of like if somebody said, you're going to walk down this path and you're going to see some snakes, you're all of a sudden hypersensitive to anything, right? How many of us have ever seen a stick or a little vine that we got and we flipped out because we thought it was a snake?
Right.
For whatever time, there was a time where you may have searched for it. There was a time where you may have repelled it, but there was a time where the energy sat in your body. And yesterday, for whatever reason, yesterday was the day, either sitting quietly, awareness, awakening, something allowed you to hear Brittney's story, to say, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And here's the neat thing about every moment in time. It'll never happen again. People heard Brittney's story yesterday. Brittney heard Brittney's story yesterday. Brittney heard Brittney's story yesterday. You heard her story, but you heard Michelle's story. I
did. And even in the chat, when she was about finished, I said, and this is your story, because I could relate so well. Like, I mean, I've been on here and said, I don't know what my story is. And I felt where she was coming from every time she said that. And then when I put in the chat, this is your story, I actually had already realized that I had figured out or been brought to light what my story was as well.
So, yeah, Brittney, you got to go back and listen to the beginning.
Yes, Brittney, you have to go back later and watch the beginning.
And so this is why, this is a reason, this is a desire that when we hear the true story of a human being, when we hear a story that allows them to lose control for just a moment, to gain back years of control, it always has a power of rippling through the world. I hope people get this, because when this ripples through the world, it doesn't stop. That story was told 22 hours ago. And it wasn't even told again today. But the power of it was so strong that the emotion of it, to hear somebody else have an aha moment, that story is told again and again and again. The only image that I see is that for a moment, when you tell your story, you are placed on the cross. And in telling your story, the part that comes across, the words that I hear, is forgive them, for they don't know what they do. That's what your story does. Gives you that freedom. Gives you that absolute control, the control you've not known where it went, how it went, as close as your skin, to say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because they could only do what they do. So, Michelle, I'm so very proud of you, because that, I mean, here's my mind. For you to share that story that you just did, 52 years, you're listening to this young, strong woman, and you've been listening to her, and there's been a part of you that's been listening to her, and we all hear it, and we listen, and we feel for her pain. The only reason we can feel somebody's pain is because we've had it, or we got it. And then for you to show up this morning and be like, yo, excuse me, if you're okay with it, I'll share my aha story, which is another bomb of freedom. Rhonda, you got to talk.
Good morning, Michelle. Ah, I want to reach through and grab you and hug your neck, girl. Oh, what you just did for yourself and for all of us is amazing. The other thing I see is two women in two different eras of life bonding together to lift the other one up and out, up and out. I'm loving it. But these men that are on the call that are listening are getting the same breakthroughs. It might just take them a little longer to sort through those feels than it does us girls, and that's okay. But the other thing I want to tell you is, Brittney, the age difference between you and Michelle, although it's there, the hearts are the same. And you stepping out yesterday allowed Michelle an avenue to step out and to see some truth that was inside of her that she just couldn't see yet. And you missed the first part. Michelle said that you started talking and she couldn't even listen to your whole story because her mind began to just open up and it was blown. This is what we were designed for. God designed us to commune and be together. He designed us to help one another, and he designed us with forgiveness. And as we step into it, the breakthroughs that will come. Michelle, we're not far from age, and I am so stinking proud of such a strong woman being able to get on here. I know what it takes to get on here, to have the bravery and the courage to say your story. And everything you say resonates with us in some different way. Each one of us resonates with your story. It also hits us right in our heart and makes us go to our heart and get out of our head. And I thank you for that, because I spent some time in my head yesterday evening and early this morning. And hearing you come on here and be vulnerable just reinforces everything we know as humans. When we do, we're in our heart. But to see two women join together that have never met each other and literally grasp hands and pull each other up and out, y'all, I don't know a whole lot of places where this happens, much less at 6:30 in the flipping morning every morning. And it's crazy because I had sent Sean a message because things were kind of heavy on my heart this morning. And the message I sent him, I want y'all to hear too, because this goes to everybody. I told him, I said, thank you for the calls. Thank you for you. It keeps me going when I get stuck in my head. Thanks for being a safe place for each of us. Thanks for the example you are for us to see Christ in you. and I'm blessed to call you a friend. And that goes to every one of y'all. Y'all show me what it's like to actually love your neighbor as you love yourself. Michelle, you accepted Brittany's story and you accepted her words and you allowed it to pierce your heart and open your mind to where your mind could release what it needed to release and let your heart take over. And Brittany, because you did the exact same thing and you made a path of forgiveness to others, it made it a little easier for Michelle to walk down that path. And I'm not blowing up. That's my oven, y'all. Sorry about the beep. I'm so stinking grateful. I love each one of y'all. I will be praying for y'all. Y'all inspire me. Michelle, I spent years in therapy. We never made this progress. Yeah, Sean, you're worth more than any counselor we could ever hire. And what you do for us, showing us this place to land, giving us this place to land, giving us this place to have a voice. You will never know the breakthroughs that you cause and how impactful they truly are. And can I just say from everybody, we love you. Thank you for helping us get set free. Thank you for showing us what freedom feels like and what's capable of us. This is such a, y'all, I needed this morning. Michelle, Brittany, y'all are awesome. Sean cried out, man, just bawl and boohoo, get the ugly crying face, snot all over the place, do whatever you got to do. You are a beautiful example of a human being that loves without boundaries and loves for no reason other than just to love. Thank you.
We love you, Sean.
Y'all send some love. Come off mute for a minute and tell Sean.
Sean, I
We
love
love you,
you.
Sean. Thank you, Sean. We love you so much.
We love you, Sean.
Love you, Sean, and
We love you,
thank
Thank you
Sean.
for
you.
blessing us all. We thank God for you. Like I told you yesterday.
Love you very much, Sean.
Thank you all.
This is your moment, Sean.
No,
Thank you,
it's
Sean. We
y'all.
love you.
This because
He's just
love,
enjoying all the
love,
love that's pouring into him.
love needs to go both ways. And this is why it's moments like this that make us all realize we're all in this together. We're all in this together. And when Michelle hears her story in somebody that the universe, God brought together, listen, I promise you, there was nobody else that Michelle could have heard the story through. She's been on the calls. So I'll be the happy doorman who just, I'll stand there with Grace at the door. I'll make sure who gets in is worthy of your attention. But you all do this. That's I don't know who I was talking to. Oh, I was talking to Brittany yesterday. I said, this is like watching your kids stand on stage and get the trophy for the most improved. I don't need the highest scores. Everything I did, I got the most improved, did the Dale Carnegie class 30 years ago. I got the smallest plaque, but I'll never forget the words. All of the other plaques are good. All of the other awards were great. But they said, this is the one that at the end of the course is the one that makes a difference in the lives. It's on my wall over there. The one who did the most for the class. You only get one of those. So, Brittney, you got the award yesterday for the one who did the most for the class. Michelle, today you get that award. What you've done for us this morning is you've given people the chance. Brittney, you should be in shock. This is the rest of your story. Didn't we say, be aware of what happens in your world in the next 24 hours? Well, guess what? We beat the clock. Not to mention whatever else happened in your life yesterday. And Michelle, you just took it to another level. Because here's the thing that we always say in our world of success. If I could do it, you could do it. Brittney's 28, 52. Here's the thing about breakthroughs. It don't matter how old they are. It happens when we let go. The reason I get emotional is it because it's when you know that they get it, when you see your child walk for the first time without holding on, when you see them awaken, and you see this bewilderment of awe in the world for just a moment. This is what we're all looking for. And now, so Brittney had this breakthrough yesterday. And then she comes back today. And when she comes back today, and she steps into this halfway through this, perfectly timed for her to say, I wonder who they're talking, me? They're talking about, did I do that? The answer is yes. And it'll happen time and time and time again. Because right now, the world is an absolute hunger for this energy, absolute hunger for this. And people are saying, I'll sit down at the table. See, Michelle had to listen to something. She had to sit somewhere quietly and to listen to this, to be drawn into this, to hear all of the loving that Rhonda pours into Brittney, and we all send messages to Brittney, and we can see she's just so close to skating out onto the ice. And then she does. And she's not even sure how she's doing it. She's not even sure how it's going. And all of a sudden, Michelle goes, that's my story. I finally figured out how to translate it. I finally figured out how to put it into words. This is what community is. There's not a higher reward than every moment on this call for me. I love that. I woke up feeling strong. Brandon, go ahead, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hello?
Great, and you, Brandon?
Man,
Good, good.
We hear you, buddy.
awesome.
We waiting for you to speak.
Okay. All right. Well, I was really excited to get on this call, and man, like Sean, I just want to appreciate you because your vulnerability, man, it's like, honestly, like I haven't really, like, I've seen it like from time to time in church, but I really haven't seen it. Um, like, I grew up without a father in the household, so I was just raised by my mother, and so um, oh, some guy was like looking at me. I'm driving the truck. Anyway, that was a distraction. So anyway, so I was raised by my mother, and I have an older brother, and it's funny because we had always felt like we had to be the men of the house, and especially because my mother, she's a strong woman. She instilled so much in us.
Brandon, you did. Hey, dude, you did something with your mic. You sound a little farther away.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. I'm driving the truck right now. But so what did you guys all hear by any chance?
We heard everything, but it just got quiet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So as we always thought that we had to be the men of the house, even at a young age, and so in terms of protection and just everything, I mean, it was just like we went off of what we knew, and we fed off of each other. But and so like it allowed me to really appreciate this because I mean my uncle is my biggest like role model, and like the bits and pieces that I had of him in my life is like me getting my father. And so me as a child, I always wanted my dad in my life. But I mean as a kid I was like, why doesn't he call me, why can't I see him, different things like that. And so but as I grew up I realized that I mean life happens, and I mean, who knows what he went through in his life. And so today, I mean, I have a great relationship with him. I mean, we didn't talk as a child, but we talk now, and and we're cherishing the moment, and we're learning more about each other. And it's amazing because if I let my old story kick in, I wouldn't have let him in. But the more I learn about him, the more I learn about myself because we're very similar, but then also we're very different as well. And so I really want to thank you for these calls because I never really knew how to express myself as a man because I didn't really have that my whole life. And kind of emotional right now, but I just thank you for that because it's teaching me how to become a better man, a better father, a better just everything, a better husband, and so I just really appreciate these calls, man.
Well, to use a funny phrase, right? Pee Wee Herman. I know you are, but what am I? So I know you are, but what am I? So thank you for being here.
Yes,
thank you for being an amazing soul.
Thank you.
Folks, I'd ask you to sit in this. To sit in what just happened. There's a world out there that's needing this. And like most of us, they're afraid to step up. They're afraid to step in. And I promise you, what's going to come out of this crisis is a rebirth of friendship. And people are going through changes right now. People are going right. Money doesn't make you better. It makes you more of what you are. When you squeeze an orange, you're going to get orange juice. And people are under stress right now and they're getting squeezed. And what we thought was on the inside wasn't. Michelle's life is forever changed in this moment. Yesterday it was changed and she sat in awe of this whole thing, an awareness that it's okay, and an awareness that now I can tell the rest of the story, that the next chapter is written. And just like Brittney told her story yesterday, said, I can't believe I told my story, because every time did you hear the brain, did you hear the enemy go, damn, I'm going to say this. And she said it. The heart, listen carefully. The heart has an intelligence all its own. What we thought our way into, the only way out is through the heart. Because if we keep thinking our way out of this, we'll keep thinking our way back into this, and we'll keep thinking our way out of this. What we pay attention to, we'll begin to pay attention to. Then we'll decide what we're paying attention to, we should really pay attention to. What's worthy of our attention? And love, I think, is a worthy attention. Michelle can now love herself because she thought she had to fall in line with everybody else and think, well, everybody else loves their mom. That doesn't. And then if she said that, it'd be like, well, there's something wrong with you. Well, it wasn't wrong with you. The programming got laid in because of how it got set up. It is what it is. Brittney has this new foundation of understanding, of awareness, that no longer can she sit there and say, I don't know my story. Rhonda can't sit there and say, I don't know my story, because we all go through these moments. Brene Brown says, have a soft front and a strong back. Do you know how much stronger each of you have become? How much stronger you make me every day? To deal with the doubt and to deal with listen, I gave up my calendar. I don't have a calendar. People say you were supposed to be on this call. Guess I wasn't. Now, I do not recommend that. That's me, because I've decided to live in the moment. And I put something on a calendar. Somebody's got to remind me. There's be things double booked, triple booked. Well, that's frustrating. That's your frustration. You know what? Everything always seems to work out. Michelle was in the moment. She was in the moment. Brittney was in the moment. And can you imagine that connection in time and space? The fireworks that went off, the things that absolutely rocketed through time and space. Michelle, where do you live, Michelle? What part of the country?
I'm in Kentucky.
In Kentucky. And Brittney's in Atlanta.
Yeah, and I'm originally from Cincinnati, but I live in this very small rural town of, I don't know, I'm gonna say 500 that actually live in the town part.
And beautiful bird.
I'm sorry.
Beautiful bird we hear.
Oh, can you hear it? Yeah, it's gorgeous now. Spring's here, the birds and the sounds. But yeah, I mean, just total opposites in life of Brittney and I right now. Well, I say total opposites, but yet so connected and alike.
But this is when we realize there's nothing different than this moment. We're all exactly in the same moment. Everything is same about us. It's what the universe allows us, what God allows us to see in his beauty, because when we all become whole, nothing is ever fractioned again. As much as I'm aware, as much as I can see, as much as I can take in, as much as I can be around and be aware of my world, it's still one fraction of 7 billion possibilities in the world. And when a young girl in Atlanta sees the world in one way, and a young girl in Kentucky sees it in one way, these two energies connect together, and together they begin to make a whole. And as the rest of us sit here and we can hear the story, nobody else was focused on anything else. We were focused on every syllable, every energy, everything that flowed out of Brittney yesterday was absolutely drew our attention. And for one moment in time, for a short, brief moment in time, together, the 40 people, 50 people, however many were on at the time, we started to bring this world together, and we could start to see the fractions all come together, because we said, that is me. And when we look across the table or across the ocean or across the screen, that is you. What in them is more like you than not like you? This addiction to approval, that my story is unique, is part of the addiction. It's your fraction of a whole that when told, it can absolutely completely looks pink. I love it. There's one of two extremes that's happening for Brittney right now. She's either sitting in absolute, I did this. This is happening to me. The heart looks for two things. Will it kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? And the pattern that I believe Brittney is experiencing right now is unlike any moment she's had in a very long time. She is not speaking, and people are pouring into her. She is not saying anything, and people are pouring into her. But yet we're all building ourselves up. Every one of us is getting stronger. Every one of us is feeling this is my moment. Every one of us is feeling the love that Michelle has, and our hearts pour into Michelle. Not because of the story, because she told the story. How many of us in kindergarten would sit and fall in love with our teachers when it was story time? When a mom would come in and read story time because she did the voices or she did this, and we just fell in love with the story. I'm not even sure what the stories were half the time. They were childhood stories. They were picture stories. They were stories of imagination. Do y'all see what Brittney just typed? I feel like I found a new purpose. Every one of you are a part of these stories.
Amen. Amen.
Every one of you is a part of these stories. It's why we need to show up, not just here. It's why I would encourage us to show up in the world. There's some tough decisions that are going to need to be made. Sometimes absolutely, Ralph. Sometimes we will know where they came from. Sometimes we will have no idea where they come from, but we have a choice in this moment. Choose misery or choose joy. There will be breakthroughs at an exponential rate because of the highly charged emotional world. I was on a call yesterday with my mastermind, my inner circle group. There was 34 of us on there. We've been together for 6 years now. And we're not meeting. So we're doing twice a week. We're doing 1.5-hour calls twice a week. And one of the things, there's a gentleman on there, a Marine colonel, 31-year Marine colonel, who helps families pay honor to their military vets, their parents usually. Usually it's done, they've passed away, but all of their medals are somewhere in a drawer, whether it be Vietnam or Korea or World War II. And they've got all these medals, but they just put them away, especially Vietnam vets. And I told the colonel, I said, Colonel, I said, brother, you need to be prepared. He said, for what? I said, because coming out of this moment, when we awaken back as a community, there will be a change. There is a storing up right now of recognition, of being grateful, of being thankful. And they are going to need an outlet. They are going to need an outlet, and what you provide for people, the ability to tell somebody's story, especially from a military perspective. And you can see everybody's head nodding, because you know what? Everybody is having pent up this desire to thank people. If that's been a part of your makeup, and all of a sudden you're home and you're not blessed to be able to be lucky enough like me to be on a call like this, to have that expression, to have that release, it will be pent up, and people are going to need a place to pour their recognition, to give their love back to something. And every one of you are one of those people that can help trigger that waterfall of joy. Whew. Michelle, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Brittney, how you feeling?
I don't know. I was literally like laying in bed. I was screaming. And I remember when I said to you yesterday, I was like, every time I tell just a little bit, it doesn't even have to be the whole thing. Everybody else is like, girl, I can relate. Like, I found that people have more maternal issues than you could ever imagine. And we just really bury them inside of ourselves and we don't unearth them and think about how they affect our lives from then on until now, because it's our mothers and we don't want to talk bad about our mothers because they gave us life and because of this and because of that. But it really F's us up on the inside. And it's like, this is something that we need to let go of because it shapes everything. Like, I'm just thinking about how it shapes my romantic relationships, my business practices, my relationship with other people, like the relationships with my friends, my obviously addiction to approval, my addiction to being attached, the fact that I would not let people know who I was exactly, like my inflection, like literally everything. And I just like am mind blown. I was just like, to think that I'm just still like wowed at the fact that I'm like this young Black girl from Chicago and I'm on this call with like these people who I would have never, ever in my life maybe said hi to at the 99-cent store. But like, other than that, nothing else, you know?
I'm glad we all shop at the 99 cent. It wasn't at Neiman Marcus. It wasn't at Nordstrom. It was the 99-cent store. Y'all are shopping
you
there,
see
but
everybody. You see everybody at like Walmart, you know? And it's like, I still can't get past that part. And it's crazy because it's like, it's like, okay, so here I go with my story, and then here's another with their story, and then here's another with their story. And I kind of feel like, even though this is it's a negative thing, like, you know, women who go through sexual abuse and they bury it deep, deep, deep down inside of them until it's like I'm a catalyst or something. Like, I was the first domino and I'm just so ready. I feel like now I want to start like some type of women's group to talk about our mommy issues, you know, because it's so necessary. And who would have thought that it was so necessary? Like, Ralph, this is not about y'all, okay? I don't know how to relate.
Why not? Why not? I got mommy issues.
I just said yesterday, I still have to work on the emasculating men part. I haven't worked on that part yet. I can't.
You reached like multiple men on this call.
It's maybe
Yeah, I have mommy issues.
you know, you guys can help me work through that, you know. That's next.
But we're here as well.
So here's the neat thing. If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. What a perfect example. What an absolutely perfect example of these things that happen. And the thing that's most amazing about this is It happens in every moment. We can change the way we look at things. And the things that we all looked at yesterday, what looked like pain, what looked like sorrow, what looked like hurt this morning was joy. Absolute joy. Absolute joy. Because there was this release, there was this freedom. And here's what Paulo Coelho says in the book Manuscript Found in a Craw. The Copt says, the main character says, don't be worried about the battle. The scars you carry will scare them enough, because the scars prove you've been through battle, and the scars you carry should never be hidden. It shows you fought, and it shows you won. These things, when you listen to the story of Kayla Cortez, from 4 years old to 10 years old, raped in the morning, raped in the afternoon, father, stepfather, wanted to kill them every day, but each one of them on their deathbed, she was there with them. We sit here and go, how? But you need to hear Kayla's story. Every one of you are masterpieces. You're master storytellers. And the big change is when you decide to read your own book. It wasn't until the book Mom and Dad Preneurs came out. Just prior to that, I had a very dear friend sitting here on my couch on a Christmas Eve some 5 years ago, maybe. And I told the story. And she said, you got to come on my call tomorrow and tell that story. I was late to the call. I really didn't tell the story. And she was strong enough to get frustrated with me after that. And she said, I need you to tell your story. Now, it was nothing other than the emotional draw. Strong woman. And she didn't know why she wanted to keep pushing me and pulling me to do this. But I eventually did it. And it made it into a book. And now when I tell it, the fear of embarrassment wasn't so strong, but the rate of connection is highly incredible. It gives you, that's your street cred. Your story is your street cred in this game you're playing called life. And what I mean by read your own story, yesterday, Brittney read her own story. This morning, Michelle read her own story. It's when you start to just live in your story, right? Epictetus said, decide what you have control over, work in that circle, and how could you ever be sad again? The biggest fear we have is that somebody's going to find out who we are. Somebody's going to find out who we are. The universe needs each of us right now. So, yeah, our minds do blow. And here's the thing. What's happened for both Brittney and both Michelle today, and Rhonda over time, and Monique over time, is when we do tell our story, we start to, it gives us that sound of the birds in the back. The storm, the rumbling, the thunder that's always off in the distance is no longer there. So I'd ask you, so where's Rhonda? Rhonda, and Brittney, I'd ask you to, well, let me ask Brittney first. Brittney, can you chat for a second?
Yeah, of course.
So if somebody asked you this question, If you're unsure of who you are, how would you now answer that?
The question is, if I am unsure of who I am.
Somebody comes to you and says, if I'm unsure of who I am, what do I do? Did you hear that? First thing.
Breathe.
Yeah. So how would you guide somebody on that question?
I would tell them, hey, just not too long ago, I was unsure of who I was myself. And I had to position myself around a community of people that helped me guide me to my story to figure out who I was. And if they did not have that, I could be that for them. And I would tell them that it will take blood, sweat, and tears and a whole lot of vulnerability, transparency, and uncomfortableness. But if they really had that goal to find out who they were, it would all be worth it in the end.
Michelle, somebody comes to you and says, I'm not quite sure. I'm unsure of who I am. What would Michelle's response to that soul be?
I'd say call Sean Murphy. No, in all seriousness, though, when Brittney was giving her answer, I was thinking, and I'm like, I would say dig deep and look at those closest to you. That's what it was for me.
Rhonda, what would you? I'm sorry. Go ahead,
other than that, I'm not sure what I would say. But Brittney's answer was really good. Surrounding yourself with people that have awakenings every day.
RBP.
Yeah, they're right on the money. The only other thing that I do that I had to do personally is I had to do a lot of prayers. And I think maybe because I was more stubborn than the other two women that just spoke. And I needed some super duper, like supernatural strength to get past that stubbornness. So I think I would have to hear the person first. I would just have to hear them and sit with them and see where their heart is. And I think one of the first questions I would ask them is, are you telling me you don't know who you are just because you need to tell somebody you don't know who you are? Are you asking for me to help you find that? Are you ready to find that? Do you want to find that? And when you find it, what are you going to do when you find out who you are? How's that going to change anything right now? So I would just have to see. I've had quite a few people walk up and ask me that question, and most of them don't want the answer yet. But they need someone to just say that to, so they can start thinking they might want the answer to that question. So it's that sitting with someone long enough to hear what they're not telling you, or tuning in quickly to where you can hear them in a really short amount of time. And then if they do, sometimes I want to chicken out and and just go call Sean. But then I realize the whole reason this is happening for me is not for Sean to continue to do that. It's for me to do that. And it's like what Monique put in the comments earlier is your story will find your purpose. It will define your purpose. So as I go through that story and I tell my story, when people come to me, it's time for me to gain some wisdom, and wisdom is applied knowledge. So I'm going to take what Sean's taught me. I'm going to take what the good Lord has taught me and brought me, and I'm going to apply it and do my best. And then if I get hung up, I'll make a 911 call to Sean, and I'll, use a lifeline or something. So that's where I'd start.
So, and here's the thing, the definition of a mentor is somebody who allows you to walk away with your wisdom. Michelle this morning was a true mentor. Brittney was a true mentor. Every one of you that share on these calls are mentors. And if you're the mentor, then be careful of what's pouring into you that takes you off of your mentorship, that takes you out of your wisdom. Did you all see some of the comments that Brittney's making? She says, I'm making breakfast. I'm full of energy. The blinds are open. That energy resides inside of every one of us. The ability to run the city we live in for a couple of days resides in our body. There is no lack of energy in our body. We just got to take the wet blanket off. And when the wet blanket gets taken off, that fire can burn, that desire can awaken. Books, you got your hand up, my love.
I was the person that answered. I was the person that asked the question.
Well, so listen, my love.
I was like,
you did ask, but I just love that you started with the laughter. Isn't that the greatest? Onto a call. Oh my goodness, I love you. So go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like, hello everyone. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Like I don't like talking, but I feel like I don't know what my story is, and it's been like really. Why am I crying? I feel like it's really been annoying me because it's like, or I just don't know, like, and I feel like everyone has their story. Everyone around me has their story. And I have no idea what my story is, or maybe I do know, and I just feel like it's not good enough to share. But ignore these tears; they're just But yeah, I just don't know.
So listen carefully to how you described yourself as in a place of lack, thinking that everyone else has their story is a way you minimize yourself. If they have their story, that doesn't change you. If they don't have their story, that doesn't change you. But it's a way for the mind to focus on, I'm not good enough. Here's the reality. You do have your story. You may not know it yet, but your story has to exist because you're here right now. And your story may be a minute old. It could be 10 minutes old. It could be 20 years old. But here's what I know about your story, from what I know so far, is that it's waiting to be told. And that the joy that you show up, your defense mechanism of laughter, is because you have a desire to make us all feel good. There's a part of you that is from a very young age, as a child, you knew that you could avoid issues if you just made people feel good. So this desire or addiction to make other people feel good has quite possibly emptied your bucket. And if it's okay for us, so let me ask you a very simple question. Is it okay for us to help?
Yes.
I think I know the answer to the next question because you've already proved it, but I want to ask it to your subconscious. Is it okay for us to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable?
Yes, I'm ready to feel uncomfortable.
Good. I figured that, but I just wanted your subconscious to know that you're agreeing to that. And then the third one, is it okay if at the end of this conversation we take you out of that uncomfortable feeling?
Yes, please.
Excellent. So let's start off with some amazing mentors on this call. Michelle, you should morning. What are you hearing for books? What would you guide her on as a someone who's probably young enough to be her mom? What would you guide? What are you hearing for her right now?
I hear the pain that needs to be released. And it's because I felt it. There is something, and like Brittney said in the chat, there is something you do not want to claim. And you know what it is. Now, a word may have to be said to you to trigger it, but deep down inside, you do know what it is.
Brittney, what are you hearing for books?
I was using my blender. I didn't hear the whole thing, but if we're asking about the story, so when the idea of a story first was brought up, I was like, what's my story? And I was like, already in my mind, I was like, I have mommy issues. You know, I was like, I have them. But I was like, nah, that's not my story. Like, it's just not, because it's just not. So I was like, okay, so here I am spending all this time, wasting people's time, talking to, to and through myself. Like, I don't know my story, when the whole time I knew that was this issue that I had never, ever expressed to anybody. So, and Monique, even though she was a big bully, she knew that I knew, and she was like, she knew that I knew. And she was like, tell it. You need to tell it. And I was just like, well, I don't know it. But the whole time I knew it. So what I would say is, when someone says story, that thing that immediately pops into your head that you're like, no, that is probably it, because it's been subconsciously triggered from you. And there's always this thing that makes up who we are. And, we probably try to bypass it, as I did, and just make it not that big of a deal. But once it's unearthed, it's like, whoa, it's this big earth-shattering thing. It's like, okay, it kind of was a big deal. And now that it was a big deal, and now that I said it out loud, I let it go out of myself. And now I even feel so much lighter, So once you're ready to, I guess, like, to say it in a not nice way, like, stop trying to trick yourself and be in denial, because you just want to keep saying that you don't know. And that's what I had to come to terms with myself. But maybe it'll just come out the more people ask you questions, because it won't be what's your story. It'll be something else, like, oh, this and this. And you're like, this. And then the next thing you know, like I was like, and then it's like, oh, there it is. So.
RBP?
Hey, okay. So as soon as first of all, I love her Instagram page. I watch her videos and she makes me laugh, and I love it. All the dances she does in her backyard, they're fantastic. Just from knowing the personality that are similar to hers. I know the ones that make us laugh the hardest are usually the one that's hurt the deepest. And they mask their hurt with laughter from everyone else. And in a way, it's a twisted way of being okay with people laughing at us because we feel like they laugh at us anyway. And notice my vocabulary word turned to us, because there's a lot of times I've done this. And I would tell you, you're worthy and you are enough. And when you speak and someone comes to you, either for your business or for friendship, I would venture to guess the first words that run through your subconscious that you consciously entertain ever so quickly are, I have nothing they need. I can't offer them anything, but I'm going to make them laugh and smile and fall in love with me because I need that love. Because you haven't felt like you've loved yourself enough. This is very personal because this is what I hear, but I feel very connected personally with you at that level. And the phrase that God keeps putting in my head is, tell her she's enough. Tell her I know she's enough. Tell her I've given her everything she needs and that you don't need any other approval. And that the joy you give to all of us in your videos and your gigantic smile that I love is the joy God wants you to feel inside your own heart. It's the joy that He wants you to bask in for yourself. And I just keep hearing the hurt is there, but the joy that you will allow to rush in when you set the front down is going to be so much greater than the smiles and laughs that you bring, and so much greater than the pain that you're entertaining and hanging on to. And whoever gave you this fraudulent rope of hope, like you're hanging on by a thread, whoever gave that to you, it's okay to cut them free. It's okay for them to remain in your story, but it's okay for you to cut them free. And it's like one of my dearest friends said it the other day, as I begin to cut things free that tether me to the old story. It's like putting extra tails on a kite, and the more tails you have on a kite, the higher the kite can fly. And it's someone like you, when we get to see someone like you, sweet, beautiful woman, when you fly and when you soar, we can't help but fly with you. And it's time for you to launch. So I don't know, you can take that for what it's worth. If you think that's anywhere near in the ballpark, let me know.
Books.
Okay.
There we go. Yes. That was it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is there. You can see it.
That's the primordial scream right there. That's you. That's your soul speaking. That's your heart awakening. That's your brain resisting. It's all of that in one. So do me a favor, put your hands over your heart.
Oh, that's my heart. Okay, here.
And what do you feel?
I feel it beating.
And do you know there's a source that beats your heart that's not us?
Yes.
That's the source that's inside of you right now. That's what you're feeling. That's the beating. It's not the story on the outside that is beating you up. It's the source that it's the source that beats your heart. The heart has an intelligence of all of its own. And that cry that you just gave out was the old story wanting to hang on. Here's the great news. You want to hear the greatest news of all? Is that you admitted you didn't think you had a story. You didn't know what your story is. That's the first signs. That's the way the brain goes, well, okay, I'll give you this. The old story goes, I'll give you this. I'll let you put a sign on the door that allows you to, that you're knocking on, says no story here, keep moving. But what I want you to do, close your eyes for just a second. This door that you're knocking on that says no story, I want you to look at that door. What color's the door?
Brown.
Brown. Is there a knocker in the middle of it? Is there a little twist that you ring the bell through the door? What other than just knocking on the door is on that door?
It's like a twist knob.
Yep, the twist knob. That's very common in that part of the world. So there's a twist knob. Have you twisted the knob yet?
Yes.
Okay. So do me a favor. You're waiting to get through the door. What are you hoping is on the other side of that door?
I don't know.
And here's the good news. Because in not knowing, we have unlimited possibility. So I need you to stand there in front of that door that you've been knocking on and realize if you look to your left and if you look to your right, there's nothing else there. There's just a door. So in your mind's eye right now, standing where you're standing, I need you to turn around and be in awe of what's all the room you're already in. What do you now see in the room you're already in? You just turned around. You no longer are blocked by this door. You just turned around, and what is it? Where are you? What room are you already in this moment? If you turn back to the door, you can take two side steps, and you're in the other room. The door is the illusion. You can take a step in any direction, and you come back to you. You now have the ultimate paintbrush. The master carpenter is at your wish. Just build your story. See what was there. The room, are you in grass? Are you outside? Are you inside? Just sit quietly and and look at where you're at. And if you're in a room of nothingness, to not be attracted to the object. Our entire life is made up of objects that we become betrothed to. The chair we sit on, the phone we carry, the car we drive, the bus we sit on, all of these objects, these inanimate things that make up our day. You have control over all. You are the master storyteller. And you now get to start your own chapter with an unknown story. You can say, in the beginning. And I would encourage you to reach out to the powerful women on this call. Reach out to the powerful men on this call for perspective. But there is a secret handshake between women. there is an idea of, it sounds good, it's only perspective. Because our brains are different. Our stories are different. Are you okay with being loved by us? By us, just by us.
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody hearing anything? Brittany, I see.
Hey, Sean.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Hey, no, I really quick. I was staying in this place for a specific reason. I don't know if you guys realize, but it's a lot of sun shining in on me. And it's pretty amazing. I know you probably can't even see it, but like the sun is literally shining through the window at my truck. And so I just, like, me personally, I feel like it's the light that is on this call. And so like it's amazing. Like I feel so supercharged. And if anybody watch Dragon Ball Z, I feel like I'm turning into a Super Saiyan. So I definitely appreciate these calls and just continue to shine bright. I mean, this wow, it's been shining like this, and it's just getting brighter and brighter, and I feel so warm. Like this is amazing. So let's go, guys. I mean, this is awesome. So I wanted to say that real quick.
Love you, brother. Appreciate you. Brittany, I see your hand up, girl.
Yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys when I read this yesterday. So as I've said before, I'm super into astrology. So I just happened upon this thing that's actually been up on my computer for quite some time, but I just never read it. And I finally read it yesterday, last night, and my top was blown off. And it says, you guys have been through a lot. You might be worried that things never seem to go in your favor, but that's far from the truth. I'm picking up on negative thoughts that some of you have, and it's because you fear the unknown. You are the high priestess, which basically tells me that you are very intuitive and very gifted. You have to listen to your intuition and continue to have patience. I need you guys to think about what it is that you really want before taking a leap. The reason for that is because I'm seeing that something new is coming into your life. And for a lot of you, you have something new coming in and the past coming back. This is why you have to think very carefully about the direction that you want to go in, because you're going to have to choose between the two. And I just thought that was just so crazy, because fear the unknown. And I'm like, what? I was like, I don't know. Everybody doesn't have the same belief in astrology, but I was just like, how ironic. What a coincidence that, because this is actually a tarot reader. And I'm like, what a coincidence that she's talking about fearing the unknown and listening to your intuition and already having the answer, but you just have to relax a little bit and then think about what it is that you want to do and then make your choice. And I was just like, okay. And so I just wanted to share that. That's it.
There are no coincidences, as Monique says. I call them Godcidences. It's his way of staying anonymous. All of the information, if everything he made, he looks at and it is good, everything he made, even the tarot reader, even he's using so many languages to allow us to hear a message. Books, how you feeling?
I don't know. Like my mind is like, oh.
So let it be. So where is there any pressure in your body? Do a quick body scan. Do you feel any tension somewhere in your body? And it might be in your head, but
my shoulder.
In your shoulder. So
Yeah.
there's something you're carrying. There's something you're carrying right now. There's a story you're carrying. It's an old story. I'm going to ask you to answer this. You don't need to answer it publicly. Is it your story or somebody else's? And when you decide what that is, either way, it can be set down. If you set it down, you see yourself set it down, you lay it down. Doesn't mean you've forgotten it, but you've put it down. Take a big breath in, and on the exhale, say, and I love that.
And I love that. Oh,
Where's the pressure in your shoulder now? Where did it move to?
it's kind of moved to my back. Is that weird?
It's moved to your back because now all of a sudden that's the story you've stood on. It's not your story. That's why you don't know your story. You've been using this story as a foundation. Now it's in your back. Feel it in your back. Feel it in the muscles that you use to stand up against gravity. Big breath in. On the exhale, feel that discomfort and say, and I love that.
I love that.
Now, do a body scan. Did it go away? Did it get less? Did it get stronger? Did it move?
I feel like it's gone back to my shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny how this discomfort, the memory in your body runs around, and it will run around. So feel it back in your shoulder. Feel it. I mean, really feel it. Is it the muscle? Is it the bone? Is it the joint? Feel where it is. Is it the top of the muscle? Is it what does it hurt when you move your arm up, move your arm forward, all directions? Just really get in touch with that. Take a big breath in and absolutely say, and I love that.
And I love that.
And now what's it doing? What did it do?
It's kind of like it's not as strong as it was before. I don't know if this is weird. Is this weird? Like I've never.
Weird. It is weird, but this is how we tell a story. When we love it, the only thing that can exist is love, and love doesn't hurt. Love has an intelligence all its own. The heart has an intelligence all of its own, and it's finally taking shape, and it's allowing you to no longer have this distraction. So feel it again, really feel it again. The fact that it went away, you absolutely love. The fact that it's still there means you're alive. You can feel it. So take another big breath in. And exhale, and I love that.
And I love that.
What's it doing now?
It's not as strong. It's still not as strong.
So what's happening is that it's actually saying, I've been here for years and I didn't know that I meant anything to you. That's what pain is. I didn't know I meant anything to you. And whatever that story is means something to you. And when we finally love it, and we're no longer mad at it, we're no longer frustrated at it, we're no longer confused by it. When we just love it, it changes our body. When we started off this little conversation about the discomfort in your shoulder, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you have given it? A 4, a 5, a 3, a 7?
Like an 8.
Like an 8. And what's it at right now?
Like a 4.
We cut it in half in 2 minutes by simply falling in love with it. Another big breath. And the 4 is a good number. Fall in love with a 4 and watch what happens. And I love that.
And I love that.
What's it doing now?
It's like a 3.
So just let it sit there. The universal source knows exactly what to do to heal that. The universal source, God knows exactly how to make that go away. And when we fall back in love with ourselves, I think there's probably a place in the Bible that says, when you love you, I can love you. I will always love you. And when you finally love you, you'll start to feel my love. And when you become aware and you become awakened, that it is my love that flows through you, that it is the universal source that beats your heart, this thing that wakes you up, allows you to go to sleep and wakes you up, this ability to transfer back and forth through life and non-life and through awareness and non-awareness. It knows all what's necessary for you right now in this moment to take care of you. Big breath in. And I love that.
And I love that.
What's it do now?
It's still the same.
So now I would ask you to spend some time absolutely loving it. That little stubborn child, love it a little more. It wants to throw things. It wants to be a tantrum. It wants to do this. It doesn't want to go. That's okay. Love it. It's scared. It's been, how long have you had that discomfort in your shoulder? I bet it's not just today.
It's been there for a while.
And it's like, this is who you are. You've had this story. So I would ask you in your quiet time is to come up with a new story. What's the story you'll now tell when this discomfort is gone? That's the fear right now. That's the only reason it's staying, is because you've been able to detract yourself and distract yourself by saying, my shoulder hurts. What if your heart feels better? What if your feet feel the ground? What if your smile gets bigger? What if your laughter becomes more pure? Brittney, I see your hand up. Okay. Yeah, after what she's doing this morning, she could be vacuuming for all we know. Gina, I see your hand up, my love.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I wanted to say thank you to Buks for speaking up and being heard. And thank you, Rhonda, for pouring into her. Because now I'm about to start crying. But you pouring into her just made me realize, like, I needed to hear that. And I'm trying to figure out, like, where does it come from that I struggle with my own self-worth and not feeling good enough and not feeling like I deserve the certain things, like I know that I deserve, or feeling like I'm worthy enough. And I'm like really like thinking back, like where did this start? Because I need it gone first off, but I'm like, I don't know where it stems from.
Can I ask you a question? Or, hey, Sean, it's Courtney. Real quick, and I posted this in the chat, but it was at a time that everyone was chatting there's a lot going on. Okay, so just 3 questions real quick. What parents' love did you crave more growing up? Not who loved you better, but whose love did you crave more?
My mother's.
Okay. Now, who did you have to be? Now, still, don't apply any judgment to this as I ask this, okay? Don't judge it. Don't give any meaning to it. But who did you have to be to earn her love?
I kind of felt like I had to be perfect.
Do you still do that to yourself today to earn your own love?
Yeah.
You see, you're perfect just the way you are. It's an old story. And that's all. I just wanted to share those questions with everybody because it changed my life. So
Thank you, Courtney.
powerful stuff to get, guys. Love you all.
Love you too. Thank you. Thank you for showing up always.
My pleasure.
Gina.
Yeah.
My sweet, beautiful friend. Now I know why I was over here going, I wish I had my phone had more memory, because I would jump off Zoom, text Gina and tell her I'm feeling you, because I've been feeling you for like the last 30 minutes between you and Books. I've been feeling both of y'all. And on my screen, on my phone, both of y'all are right on top of each other. So I'm like, oh God, what you got going on here? So what Courtney just walked you through is very interesting. And I wrote all three of them down because I went to Sean with this same, almost with the same crying face that you have on right now, going, why do I not feel worthy? Why do I not feel enough? What's in me? And Sean walked me through questions, and just like he does, like he was doing with Books, and he's done with all of us, with Brittney, everybody. And I came to learn that it was someone that I loved deeply in my family, of all things. It's usually where it goes, that spoke over me words of lack of worth, that I was fraudulent, that I wasn't who I knew I was. And after listening to the three questions of Courtney's, it makes a lot more sense. And it was that person who took on the role that I needed, I craved that love from. And it was when I exposed that in my mind that I was like, oh, but when I said it out loud, and it was a one-on-one with Sean, you may not want to do that on a live YouTube and a live call, and I get that. When I said it one-on-one with Sean, and I said the name of the person, and I spoke those words into the universe, it wasn't until then that the darkness that surrounded that realized I just turned the light on. And it couldn't hide and it couldn't lurk any longer. And it's exactly what I said yesterday. When you find dark places and you turn lights on in dark places, darkness cannot stay there any longer. And what you've seen Brittney do is she turned some lights on. Michelle turned a huge light on today. You and Books are both wanting to turn a light on, and Books is starting to toy with the switch. She's like, I might flip the switch. I'm getting close. And Gina, you're going, I just need to see the switch, and I might go ahead and just turn it on. So I would say those three questions that Courtney just asked you. What parents' love did you crave growing up? Who did you have to become to earn that person's love? And do you still do that to yourself to earn your own love? Sit with those. And you can always, we've talked before, you can reach out to me, you can call Sean, you can call Monique, you can call Michelle, you can call Courtney. There's so many people on here that would listen to you through a place of love and lenses of love and gratitude. But sweet girl, you have this unbelievable way of this soft feminine voice that I've never encompassed in my life, that when you speak, I lean in. And you have all these amazing gentle characteristics, and you're willing to love, and you're willing to learn to love yourself, and you're willing to move forward. What part of that isn't enough? We're often staring at the darkness just because we can't see, and we keep wondering, what's in there? What's in there? What's in there? Oh, I'm a little scared to look in there. But it's like what Sean says, when you become awakened, you can see in the darkness. And you're starting to awaken. That's why you're asking these questions. You are enough. We will speak that over you. We will speak that into you. I'm going to say that to your heart. You've got a book that you can read every day. that will speak over you and into you. And you need to be held accountable to read that and hear those beautiful words that are for you. I love you. Let's open the door and turn the light on to this closet when you're ready, and shine the light and get Gina to show up like Brittney did, like Buks is doing. Because y'all, we need y'all. I need y'all. I need everything that God has put inside of y'all, because it will minister to me and it will touch my heart and it'll touch my soul. And then it's just going to be a complete domino effect from there. So you're welcome to reach out to me. Again, there's so many people on this call you can reach out to. Sit with that and see where God goes. Call this person. Because it might very well be that whomever you call, and it doesn't have to be me or Sean, whomever you call, might need to be the one that's being tugged on by God going, you need to speak. You need to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes.
A little bit? I can still see the pain in your face. I can still feel you. It's okay. It doesn't go away instantly. Say again?
I'm not sure where it's coming from, where it's trying to hide.
We're going to hand it over to the master, Sean G. Murphy, now.
So Gina, can you do me a favor sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
Can you stretch? Make yourself a little bigger. There you go. What did you just hear as you did that?
I heard a crack in my neck.
Mm-hmm. What did you feel when you did that?
Kind of like a release of energy.
Mm-hmm. Because you had balled yourself up. You were big enough for me to literally put in my pocket. So I need you to stretch. Books, I need you to stretch. I need you to just reach out into that universe that's around you. We can all stretch. Everybody stretch. Because I promise you, when you start to move your body and you start to awaken your soul, and you can bring that energy, right? Courtney could guide us through the Tony Robbins ritual where he reaches up and he grabs the universe and pulls it down. Yes. Yes. When you start to move your body, motion creates emotion. Emotion creates motion.
I feel like my legs are shaking.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Okay.
When you move your body, it moves your soul. Your brain goes from when we sit and we ball up, we go into the fight or flight. The amygdala gets fired off. The hippocampus goes, ooh, this is serious. And we shut down our ability to think. And when your prefrontal cortex shuts down, you lose 25% of your conscious ability. It's why people will run people over in a stampede. It's why people will absolutely jump out of building. I mean, you lose your ability to think. When that primordial brain kicks in, you lose your consciousness. And if you start to stretch, if you start to move in a direction you choose, the amygdala goes, oh, okay. Let's change the chemicals running in our brain right now, because we don't need the adrenaline going. We don't need to shut down our ability to love. We go into the fight or flight. Stretching. Oh, good that feels. Oh, we put pressure in our body. We get our heart pumping a little more. We start to feel things in our body. That's spiritual energy making you shiver, Courtney says. Tap in. It's right there. It's as close as your skin. It's tapping you on the shoulder saying, put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready to love the world. I'm ready to have all of the joy I can in every moment of every breath of every second, to be in joy, to be in love, to just be present. Let it go. Let it go. I can't do the thing from Frozen. We love you.
We love you, Gina.
Love you guys too.
Gina, let that out,
I love
girl.
you.
Let it out.
I love you, Gina.
Love you so much, Gina.
Yes, let it out.
Love you,
If you
Gina.
have to, if you have to cry out loud, cry out loud. You can get
Love
the
you,
ugly
Gina.
crying face. Come
Love
on,
you.
girl. Just let go of it.
Love you, Gina.
As Sean said,
Yes.
you don't have to mute yourself. We're here. We all love you.
All right. Release it, girl. Let the universe take it back. It's time for it to go. Replace it with all the love we got for you, sister. Y'all tell her again.
We
I love you, Gina.
Love you.
We
Love
love
you,
you.
Gina.
Gina.
Let it out. You got this
Love
teddy
you.
bear over here
I
tearing
love you,
up.
Gina.
You're worthy,
Gina,
Gina.
we
You're
are
worthy.
You are
all,
amazing.
You're more than enough.
Yes.
Gina, we are
Yes.
all standing here
Would you?
behind you, holding you up.
Would you?
It
Once
is
you let it go, you'll feel so much
okay.
better.
We're a community here. We love you. We're family.
And it's an honor to be here in this moment with you.
Love you guys. Have a blessed day.
Very much an honor to be here. Very much an honor to be here to see pain released.
Amen.
All these cups are overflowing.
Yes, you're making my heart just feel bigger and bigger and bigger the longer I watch you. I mean, it's just, you're gonna bring me to tears, girlfriend. And like I said, and I didn't even cry earlier when I said, my mom doesn't love me. So you're
Let it out,
pulling some
Michelle.
power. You're pulling some power on me, Gina.
Love you all.
Love you guys.
And you're gonna feel so much better,
Love you
Gina. I
too, Brandon.
promise.
Love you all.
The
So
weight
happy
will
you guys
feel
are part
a
of my
lot
life, man.
less.
You guys are awesome.
We're all beams of light like the sun was shining on all of us.
Y'all are amazing.
Yeah, the
I
sun is
love it.
following me. It's following me. So because of y'all. Because of all of y'all, not just me.
And
Y'all are
Gina,
amazing for showing up for us every day.
and Gina, I want you to hear this. I love you just the way you are.
Come on, girl. Say it again.
Gina, I love you just the way you are.
I seen you take that breath, Sean. That was nice, wasn't it? Yeah, that tree and we all your branches with those leaves that you talked about
This is
is
happening.
branching off.
This
for
is
sure.
happening right now in front of us.
Look at Michelle learning to love like a mama's heart.
Yeah, and I don't have children, and I was not loved by my mother. So for me, it's a 360.
I mean, how else could this have happened without each of you?
It started with one, now it's blossoming for all.
Yeah. Like you all give me
It
strength.
started with your star people, Rhonda the rock
Exactly.
star.
Yeah, Rhonda, man. Oh my goodness.
You pour so much
You
into
guys
her,
all,
she's pouring over into us, and then to each
yeah,
other.
yeah, just the strength. The strength The strength is contagious. It's contagious.
Yeah, there you go, Rob. Misfit magic at its finest.
Yeah.
Misfit magic. You're absolutely right, Rob. And y'all want to know something? I had like man plans, God giggles. I'm like, okay, based on Brittney yesterday and the conversation and addiction to approval, I said, okay, I'm going to pull out one of my trainings, one of my conversations. And I went, this is going to be good. Boy, if you don't listen, you'll run right over good. You will crush good if you're not listening. And Michelle goes, hang on. I just wanted to share. And this nuclear bomb of love shows up, of just absolute, I dare you to step in the way of this love truck. And this all happens to this moment.
Gina, I don't know if you read the comments.
No, I didn't.
Just now, Michelle said, I just said to the universe something I've never been able to say out loud. Yeah, Monique, listen to what the universe says back from here out. Yeah, that was awesome.
I didn't think I would spend my 25th birthday on here crying, but hey.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday, beautiful.
What
Happy
better
birthday,
gift to
Gina.
get than
I know,
coming
right?
to you?
I was just about to
Being
say
born
that.
Aries
again.
season.
Happy birthday.
Being born again on your birthday.
And this
Look at that little kid and Sean showing up.
birthday.
Smile, girl.
As
Smile.
you-
Good on you.
The best birthday gift I could ask for is releasing that
To
old
be
story.
born again. Yeah.
Buks, it's your birthday?
Really?
What?
Happy
Wow.
birthday!
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Bucks.
Happy birthday to
The
both of
universe
you.
does it again.
Look
I'm
at
saying
Sean.
This is so
birthday twin.
freaking magical, y'all. Happy birthday, Gina.
High five, Gina.
Hey,
Hey,
birthday twin!
Sean, drop the mic. Sean, drop the mic, man. Drop the mic.
Happy birthday.
He dropped himself back. He is the mic.
Hey, y'all, we all need to go out and play the lottery today, okay? We all need to go out and play the lottery.
Gina, you
If there
look so
was a
much
home
better.
run for a call, I think this was it, you guys.
And today is a birthday.
Yeah.
Right?
She was crying
Yes.
like a brand new baby being born. That's what it was.
Yes.
Her crying like her being born again when you first being born. You cry. You sing to the world.
I'm here.
Everybody just needs to screenshot Sean right now because it's hilarious.
He's bewildered.
I've never seen him sit back like that. He's just
So
like,
far
I'm
away from the
done.
mic.
I'm so good, Lord.
Y'all got it. Y'all go. Y'all got it.
Brianna, sing to us.
Yes, Brianna, sing.
Yes,
Sheesh.
Bree, sing.
Please.
Sean was sitting back there like, well, Gina, while she's getting ready, but Sean was sitting back there like, y'all go on with your bad self.
That was all that love porn they told me was just pushing him back.
Brianna, you were muted.
But I'm finally here. And I just want to testify, make things crystal clear. See, I've been put down, I've been kicked on, talked about how my friends might have been beat down, till he turned my life around. Seems like I'm always falling short of being worthy. I ain't good enough, but he still loves me. I ain't no superstar, spotlight ain't shining on me. I ain't good enough, but he still loves me. I'm not perfect, yes I do wrong. I'm trying my best, but it ain't good enough. Shunned by the world when I don't succeed. 'Cause Lord, I ain't good enough, but he still loves me. If you ain't worthy, just raise your hands and let me know that you understand. 'Cause we are all so blessed to be loved, loved. Standing here in front of everything, and through his eyes we all look the same. What will we do without him? For sure, Lord, I ain't worthy, no, but you still love me, Lord. I ain't no superstar, but I wanna be for you. Okay, I'm jamming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the
I love that song,
sound
Bree.
Happy birthday, Gina. Yeah, I'm burning up. It's like 80 degrees.
Feel like we just had praise and worship.
That was beautiful.
That's what I was gonna say. Where are you? You look like you're on vacation.
Girl, I just got back from Maryland. I'm living in a tent, self-quarantined, but I'm in the Virgin Islands. The sun is hot, and everything is good. You guys are on my mind this morning, and I was able to get up and stay positive, and just see your growth just makes me so happy. And I'm growing with you. I'm growing right next to you. So we're all going to be okay. We're not good enough, but we're worth it. Right? Who's clapping? Who's clapping? Clap a little hard. I need to feel you.
That was my husband in the kitchen.
Tell him.
Rhonda.
Okay.
Rhonda, give reference to what Michelle just rolled. What Michelle just rolled out there in the comments.
Let me see. My stone was rolled away. Okay. For those of y'all that don't know, and it's almost Easter time, this is the time in the Christian world where we celebrate when Christ was crucified on the cross, and because of his crucifixion, he sacrificed himself to remove all of our sins. And as we love and accept him as our Lord and Savior, his death on the cross was not in vain. And though they killed him on the planet, they buried him in a tomb, and they rolled this gigantic stone in front of the doorway of the tomb so no one could disturb his body or steal his body.
Yeah.
And it took multiple men to roll this stone in front of the tomb door. And when some ladies came back the next day to check on the tomb, the stone had been rolled away, and there was a man standing there, and it basically was an angel, and he said, the stone's been rolled away, and he's not here anymore. And he was resurrected and sits now in heaven at the right hand of the Father, and he intercedes on your behalf for all your sins and all your worries and all your concerns. And he goes to God and asks for forgiveness for you. So when Michelle says her stone's been rolled away, she has been set free. She has been redeemed and able to go into new places and to new heights. And there's no greater freedom. And that's the freedom you heard Rihanna singing of. And that's the freedom that's for everybody who wants it and chooses it. And it's an unbelievable feeling. And if you need to know what it looks like when you step into that, take a good look at Sean Murphy. It's a beautiful example as to what your life is like as you step into that full salvation and forgiveness that Jesus Christ has to offer.
What did the angel say to the women? Didn't he say something?
Say again?
Didn't the angel say to the women, why do you seek the dead among the living?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yes,
said he's not here no more. He's gone.
that's right.
This is every one of you. Why do you seek the dead among the living? You are alive.
Amen.
We just saw it. How many times this morning did we see life take on its new chapter? The dead, they arose.
There's a song that says, I'm no longer a slave to fear because I'm a child of God. It's a good song, isn't it, Buks? Yeah, it is. I want to see you dance in the backyard to that song. I want that on Instagram. Yes, I do.
And I got another song, Marvin
Come on.
Sapp, Comfort Zone.
Ooh.
Listen to that. I heard it for the first time yesterday when y'all talked about songs. I turned the radio on for like the first time in a minute because I always listen to motivation on the car. I said, I'm gonna turn some music on. And I turned that on and I heard that song. I played it like 3 times. Gotta listen to it. Step out that comfort zone. Be uncomfortable.
Well,
yeah, how do you end that?
y'all just proved the joy that's waiting in the world for all of us. I mean, can it get better than yesterday? The answer to that is, oh, heck yes. And it's in elevating ourselves that we get to elevate others. What Buks went through and what Gina went through and what Michelle went through and every one of you is this stepping stone to our own greatness, being this community of pillars of just absolute freedom. I'm not speechless, but words pale to the love that you've all shared. Y'all are amazing. Hey, Rhonda, you want to? I think the Lord's around here pretty close. Do you want to send us off with a prayer?
Yes. I'm going to send us off with some Thanksgiving. Father, thank you for letting all of us show up. Thank you that we get to hear Brianna raise her voice in a hallelujah to you and let all the earth hear it. Thank you that even though she sits on an island far, far away from every one of us, that we get this beautiful technology that you've given to us to be able to sit in joy and thanksgiving. You say in your scripture, enter his gates with thanksgiving, enter his courts with praise. And Father, we never feel you closer than when we do when we're in thanksgiving and when we're in praise. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for your salvation. Thank you for every one of the hearts that are on here. I pray that you bless every household, break every barrier, every wall, every shackle. I command it to be broken in the name of Jesus. I speak peace and healing and joy and comfort and happiness and gladness and songs from our heart. Let it pour out of our heart, out of our mouth, out of our eyes. Let us be a blessing back to you by blessing your people and blessing everybody we come in contact with. Thank you, Father, for the moment of stillness on the earth to where we can hear you even clearer and speak to you without all the noise around us. Father, thank you for each person. Thank you for Sean. Thank you for letting him get out of the way and minister to us. Thank you for all the breakthroughs that you bring in various ways and sources that we could never imagine. Help us to return it all back to you, and that our beacons shine lighter and brighter than ever before, and they all turn it back to you as our source of peace and happiness and love and joy. Father, thank you for today. And we say all this in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Woo, that was a prayer.
Amen.
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 That was
Amen.
beautiful.
Amen.
Amen.
From your humble servant to all my dear friends. Send some love to each other. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
I love
Love you
y'all.
all.
Thank you.
Bye,
I love you
guys.
guys. Have a
Love
great
you all.
day.
Love you guys. Happy birthday, Bucks.
Thanks, B.
Happy
Love you
birthday,
all.
Buks and
Love you, my
Gina. Enjoy your
misfit
day.
family.
Love you guys. Happy birthday.
Everyone have a blessed day.
Happy
And
birthday,
Gina
beautiful
and
ladies.
Brooks,
Happy
enjoy your
Happy,
beautiful
happy
births again
birthday.
today. Love
Thank
you
you
all.
everyone so much.
Oh, it's our birthday. Somebody said happy birthday to us all.
Nailed it on that one.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you,
And Bri,
Michelle.
let me know how you like that song.
I will, definitely.
Love y'all.
Oh, happy birthday, Bucks. You're so beautiful. I love your smile, your hair, everything, your laugh. Just keep
Thank you. Thank you. Love you all.
Love you guys. Love you, Bree. I see you in a little while.
see you in a little while.
I feel like we're all on our first date. Nobody's hanging up.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
You hang up. I love you. I love you. You hang up.
Love you. No, you hang up.
You hear that laughter?
You don't want to leave.
Not hanging up.
Hang it up.
Oh my gosh.
Love you all.
This is you. This is who you were meant to be. This is who you were called to be. This is the love you bring to the world. Thank you. Ah.
Thank you.
Stay in the moment.
I'll be good. Go share the love with somebody. Go send a message. When we didn't even start off with send your 3 messages. I dare
sent my messages.
I could.
I sent my messages.
I'm gonna send mine now.
I dare you to send out more. Watch what happens.
I'm about to do mine now.
Probably gonna send like 100 more
My
messages.
cheeks hurt from how much I'm like smiling and laughing. Like I can't believe like people probably think I'm crazy down here at the unemployment office.
Good.
I'm just
Good.
sitting here just staring at my phone, just like cheesing, like, oh my God, like
Let 'em
rocking away
stare.
to Brianna's singing.
They want to be in your world.
Girl,
My
you
mother
gotta
said,
get
"Are
with
you
it."
singing to those people?" I said, "Yes, Mom."
Did you
It
sing?
does sound crazy. She said, "No, not at all."
Y'all are doing
I
it. You're
love it.
changing the world.
Hey, Bree's mom, I'll let her know. She went to make me something for breakfast. Since I'm quarantined, I'm gonna be waiting on.
Oh, they
Oh,
quarantined
I'm
you in a tent?
passing by, so I'll pick up breakfast too.
Girl, I am in a tent. Let me show y'all. I am. This is my home for like the next 2 weeks, week and a half.
Is that because you're traveling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, do you know how many of us would love to be on an island in a tent right now?
I would love it.
Right?
And you know what's funny?
Same here.
We always go like camping around Easter as like a family, but now everybody's all quarantined. But I'm the only one that gets to camp this week.
Nice.
I love how you said get to.
Yeah. Yesterday was a bit rough, but this morning I said, you know, I get to camp today. I'm great.
Enjoy your camping. You get to ground every second of the day. You get to be connected to the earth every second of the day now. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right.
I
y'all.
want to be on an island with you.
Well, the flights are cheap. I mean, if you don't mind spending your days in a tent, come on down.
Y'all share this.
Rhonda, you would love it down here. Trust me, you would love it down here.
Let me
girl.
tell you, I am so centered when I'm by the ocean. Girl, I know. Trust me, I know.
Same.
One of my dreams is to have a place on an island. I would love to be right by the ocean all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes, Rhonda, me too.
I wish I could go
I
to
swear
the
I'm a little fish.
I wish I could go to the beach, but all the beaches are shut down. So
Right?
No. People are on the beach. They put up their little perimeter. Like, this is my side. You go over there. Mama, my friend said hi. Hi. So worried about my safety. It'll be fine.
Y'all have
You guys enjoy your day.
thanks for making the world a better place.
You too.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
right back at you.
Thank you every day, Sean. And
All
I
right.
thank God for you.
And I as well. All right, y'all. See you in the
Amen.
morning.
Bye.
Love
Good
y'all.
morning. Have a
Love
Bye.
y'all.
blessed day. Love you
Everyone
guys.
have a blessed
I
day.
love you guys.
Stay in the moment.